And welcome to Incredibly, your favorite show about superheroes. My name is Dennis, your superhero host. I am here with Joey. I'm here with Uchi.
Yep.
And we ready to party. All right. So a couple of weeks back, for these listeners who are just joining us, and for all the millions
and millions.
Yeah, I was like,
you don't watch wrestling,
dude.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's okay. One day.
I thought Joey's about to be on and not with me, but he wasn't ready. See, I was ready. I'm always ready.
I had muted myself because I had to burp. So,
God damn it.
For the millions of you who are listening to the podcast daily, a couple of weeks ago, we did our top 5 MCU projects. And, we thought maybe it would be a good idea to talk about the least favorite projects from the MCU ecosystem. Don't get mad. These are just our opinions. Movie, TV shows, and stories is very subjective. You can like whatever you want. We won't judge you. Well, at least not we will, but just we won't record it. But we will judge you.
We'll judge you because we know that you're going to judge us, and fair is fair.
Exactly.
It goes both ways.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep. So to kick things off, let's do this. Let's start with number 5 of our top 5 least favorite MCU projects.
All right.
Uchi, please give us the honors.
My top 5. So I just want to preface that this list was it had given me some form of difficulty because obviously, as y'all know, I find good in everything, but I will spoil that. Number 1 is garbage. All right, but we'll get to that. All right. My number 5, as far as it goes, again, I'm prefacing super hard right now that I liked it, but in comparison to everything else, it just doesn't measure up. And this is, to me, the most forgettable as far as what happens in it. To me, I put Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you broke Joey's heart a little bit.
No.
Because Joey, you don't mind that one, right?
I don't mind it in the sense that I probably also would have put it at number 5.
Okay, so I'm chilling.
You're chilling.
And when we were doing our tier list, I believe we came across this, and I was like, well, like there was the fun scene where like they had the fight on the train, and like there was some other and we got too into the weeds on it, but yeah, I definitely get it. It was very unforgettable. I think outside of that scene, it was pretty unforgettable because we got the MODOK payoff. What we didn't know was going to be a MODOK payoff.
Right.
How many years? 4 years later. So
that's a crazy gap now that you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way too much.
Well, Ant-Man was supposed to be one of the first movies made back in 2004 or whatever. So the fact that it's just now coming to fruition is wild.
Can you imagine the 2004 Ant-Man? That shit would have.
That's crazy.
That would have. I don't think it would have went over well. Yeah, no.
Jon Favreau directing, practical effects abound.
Right.
Could have been interesting.
And Uchi, for you, why is it your number 5?
Like I said, it's like it's one of the ones that when I try to think about the things that happen, I can't remember all that much outside of Ghost makes their appearance. Everything else was kind of like fine. And like I remember thinking like the movie was okay, but like this was one of the few examples that I could pull from where I didn't really feel anything. And like sometimes that can be a good thing, sometimes that can be a bad thing. This is so neutral that I'm just like Ant-Man and Wasp. Like the first one was way better. The third one, in my opinion, definitely way better. The second one is kind of just like there. So it's all right.
All right, that's fair. Joey, let's get into your number 5.
Are you ready?
Oh my God, bro, don't do it.
My number 5 is actually Ant-Man Quantumania.
this fucking guy.
Oh no.
For the fact that one of Kang's first on-screen deaths is at the hand of Scott Lang,
This is
and that it is the third in probably the most. I don't want to necessarily, and this is the issue with the tier list, is that I don't want to call them bad because they're not bad movies, but to me, it is the culmination of three of like the most mediocre of of the MCU movies. Um, and I don't know, man. If you're gonna try to build Kang up to be this most omnipotent, crazy, powerful dude, just to have him killed off. And I know we've talked about. I'm pretty sure we talked about this on the podcast in the past. It just wasn't it. I wasn't. I really honestly wish that Modoc probably would have been the main villain. That they would have had a Kang tie-in towards the end. Because Modoc's awesome. I love him from just everything. So that's my biggest gripe with the film. I think I'm just not a big Scott Lang guy. I think that's probably what it is.
Clearly.
You know, yeah. Which is sad because I love Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's the GOAT.
Me too. I like Paul
So,
Rudd, and he
sorry,
doesn't
Paul.
age, which is incredible.
He does not age. It's
Yeah.
awesome. And it's kind of scary. Maybe it's the Pym particles.
It might be. All the
maybe.
chia seeds in his smoothies
Yeah.
are working.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, you guys ready for my number 5?
Let's
Yeah.
hear it.
Hit it.
Oh my God. Here we go, you guys. This is not going to be a fun. My number 5 is Iron Man 2.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, you really thought it
Yeah.
was that bad? Oh
I
my God.
I thought this one was pretty bad. And I loved Iron Man number 1 so much that I think, and this is me just guessing, but my guess is that with Iron Man 2, like, yo, we're like at the top right now. Let's just smash it. Let's give them all we got. Let's go Black Widow, War Machine for 3 minutes, and let's just give them everything. Bro, it was just like, for me, and I think Whiplash also was just like not that great in my opinion. So I was so excited for this movie after the first one, and I think they were trying to introduce too many characters, maybe, or do too many things with too many characters, and then it just didn't move the bigger picture of Avengers and everything forward, in my opinion. It was kind of like, and then like War Machine was there for like 2 minutes. Like homie was like, "Oh no, I'm just here pumping gas. See y'all later," and like it just like disappeared. I'm like, "What happened?" And I love War Machine. I wish we in general we would just get more of War Machine as a character throughout the MCU. But that's my number 5, Iron Man 2.
I know that they were, I believe 2 is when they were trying to adopt Demon in a Bottle, correct? In some
Yeah.
capacity. And from what I know is that the Marvel execs, I don't think it was Disney at the time. I think Disney was later 2010s, but they were basically like, uh alcoholism, don't really necessarily show that. So they had to like really cut back on it by showing Tony like have a drink in his hand at times and stuff like that. But it wasn't able to shine through as well as it is, and it wasn't able to come across as the incredible story that it's known for in the comics, which I think
Yeah.
is probably a lot of it. And like Whiplash is cool. Mickey Rourke is all right. I don't know what was up with the parrot, but or parakeet or whatever the bird was in it. So I may agree with you on that one, Den.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was tough. That was really tough. But yeah, I don't think going the demon in the bottle route would have been a good one long term. Uh it's a great story, but maybe like that should have been like a side story, or at least not a connective piece to what was going to happen years later, right? But yeah, Iron Man 2. Uchi, let's go with number 4.
All right. My number 4 is She-Hulk. No surprise
Mm,
there.
Okay.
mm.
She-Hulk overall was a show that I think last week when we were doing the live tier list, I mentioned that like the show itself was okay. It was fine, but what makes me not like it more is the feeling that it gave me the entire time. Like I'm following this shit week to week like everyone else. And the entire time I'm just like, why does this feel like they were preemptively thinking that people were going to talk shit about this show? And like because of that, it made me feel like they are spending way too much energy on that hypothetical and not allowing this character and their story to kind of truly flesh out for themselves. I understand apparently She-Hulk does break the fourth wall in the comics, and that's fine, but I think that that gimmick should be reserved for Deadpool. And I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with me on that because Deadpool's OD and Ryan Reynolds is fire. And not to say that, and I forget her name. That's no slight to her. That's on me because I be forgetting actor names all the time. But I just felt like, in combination to what I first said with that, I'm just like, yo, this experience in watching this is kind of soured. And then to top it all off, even with setting up like, Bruce going out to Planet Hulk or wherever, and then Daredevil making an on-screen appearance,
Yeah.
getting to get into action and all that kind of stuff. We
First
got a
MCU on-screen appearance outside
yeah,
of No Way Home.
Yeah.
and then Abomination back again once again. Even the joke about Bruce changing actors, I loved those things.
Right.
But then it's also how it left me, which again, I've said this, they just like she has these fourth wall breaking powers to the point where she's just gonna change her shit. Nah, nah. That like it was funny to a degree, but then it was just like she turned her own like somewhat of a hype finish to an anticlimactic one. They literally have a picnic, and this is how we're introduced to Scar. Nah, hold that. Nope. They're lucky I didn't put that as number one, to be honest. I was being nice because overall, like I said, I enjoyed what I enjoyed out of it, but it bothered me more than it should have. And like being a Hulk character, I mean, look, they even set her up like hard body, like, oh, she's better and then Bruce is. They left us with that off like the first couple episodes. Like, oh, she's able to control her shit way faster than him. She's OD faster than him. I'm just like, I can accept these things, but then everything else about the show itself was just like not meeting up to that.
Mm.
And I was just like, wow, like this is like if we were to do a tier list on the shows only, that would be at the bottom.
Mm.
The very
Right next to
bottom?
Secret Invasion.
I was gonna say the very bottom.
Okay, it would be at the bottom, not the very bottom.
Maybe we should have started with one because I have,
Right.
but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
All right, Joey, hit us with it.
All right, my number 4 least favorite MCU project movie is Thor: Love and Thunder.
I fucking knew it.
Okay.
I
All right.
I went into this movie expecting to be blown away, and I was blown all right, not in the good way. I'll tell you that.
That's
I
a
was
flip.
I was blown away by goats. I was blown away by sappy Thor. I was blown away by Gore, by Christian Bale's performance. Love Christian Bale, awesome. Gore the God Butcher, incredible character. Definitely not. I think, in my opinion, he was wasted on this movie. I think a lot of people also feel that if you're going to have an actor like Christian Bale, basically helped resurrect comic book movies to what they are today, you got to give him more of a
Mhm.
standout role. And I think that I think the average score for the movie was like a 6. I think out of all 6 points, at least 6 of those points were all for Christian Bale, and the rest is to be seen. But I love Chris Hemsworth. I think he is, like Ryan and I talked about this a lot previously, and we all did. Is like he is Thor, right? Like he is very much so the embodiment of it. I love all the
100%.
Chris's in the MCU. I think what Taika did to the Thor franchise is pretty rough. It is very different, very out of left field, especially when you compare it to what is in the comics. So to have Thor land here in this way is just kind of it's just unfortunate because there's so many incredible Thor stories as you guys are seeing in the Immortal Thor on being told right now. Or I think it's called God Fist Thor, where he literally his fists literally become more powerful than Mjolnir, like to the point where
Oh,
Mjolnir like succumbs to Thor because It's incredible. So
That sounds
there,
fire.
it is fire. Think of Ryu going into the woods to train for all those years and coming back being Master Ryu. That's basically what Thor did. He just went up on a mountain and punched Mjolnir for. Anyway, I
That's
digress.
okay. Yeah,
It's awesome.
that sounds sick.
It's so sick. So there were so many ways in which the story could have been told, and it was when we last saw Thor before Love and Thunder, he had taken off with the Guardians, and then only for the Guardians to be disposed of within the first 10 minutes of the movie. Not disposed of, but like they came and they left, and that was it.
Yeah. Sounds like
It was
War
ki-
Machine.
right? It was just kind of underwhelming in that aspect. Yeah, I just wish that Gore would have been gotten used better, and that Thor would be going in a different direction. So, but I'm excited to see what comes next. Also, to cap it off, Taika said that he never really had he never had an interest in comic book movies, and that he was in it for the money. And so, because of that,
Oh wow.
Thor: Love and Thunder is number 4. That was a recent thing that he came out and said. So
Yeah, I saw
Wow.
that.
I am anti Taika as of now.
That's
Wow, really?
crazy.
Yeah. I
Man.
will say Ragnarok fucking sick. Like easily one
Yeah.
of the coolest movies ever. But Love and Thunder and then him coming out and saying that, I'm just okay,
Yeah.
sure. I
Damn,
wish that
Taika.
you just gotta have some passion, right?
That sucks because I'm a big fan of Jojo Rabbit. I'm a fan of What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, What We Do in the Shadows is amazing. So
Yeah, that's a good one. But man, yeah, he's going through a roller coaster right now, man. I'm a little worried. So
yeah,
I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's one of those things. Maybe there's just too many projects you're working on, and you just need to take a break and just focus on one.
who knows?
But at least he's honest. So
At least he's on. I will give him that.
I will
I
give him
guess.
that.
Yeah.
Man. All right. My number 4 is this is no surprise. This is no surprise.
You got the claps?
He's hitting clap.
What are you
I
clapping
got the
for?
claps because a lot of people are thanking me for this. The Marvels. The
Mm.
Marvels is at my number 4. This movie. So, an amazing movie came out this weekend with a budget of $15 million.
What movie was that, Dennis?
Godzilla.
Gojira.
Yeah. I just realized my Godzilla was like a little bit Japanese, a little Mexican, but that's okay.
Yeah, the heart was there. The heart was there. That's what matters.
The heart was there. $15 million. This movie made 31 plus million around the world.
It had the largest live action Japanese movie box office in America ever.
That
That's
deserves a clap.
probably because it's probably like one of the only ones.
Yeah,
To
but we'll
be
take
honest, like
We'll take it. And the Marvels had $250 million and they just couldn't deliver.
That's a lot of millions.
That's a lot of millions. And what I got was sponge props from the elementary schools across the street. I
forgot you hated that.
I got the worst villain possibly in the MCU. I can't think of another
Damn.
villain that is worse.
I can name one, but we'll talk about them later.
Oh, okay. Uchi's
this is
worried. He's like,
insane.
how am I in this group right now? Yeah, I mean, you guys know how I feel about the movie. It's a pretty basic to okay movie for me. And I think the only thing that was good about this movie was that it wasn't too long.
Mm.
So that is my number 4 movie. It's Uchi said something interesting in his number 5. He said like something about like memorable Uchi. I won't remember anything good about the Marvels. So yeah, that's my number 4. Go check out the
Damn.
review of the Marvels that we did here on Incredibly.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Ooh.
Way to bring down the vibes, Dennis.
That's
Sorry,
crazy.
world. Yeah, that's my number 4. Number 3, Uchi.
Mobius.
Okay.
That kind. I mean, now this is kind of where my picks from here on down, for me at least, are very obvious. Mobius, even though I personally was not offended, or like bothered by the film when I saw it. I was actually kind of confused as to why people were shitting on it so much, why people were memeing on it so much. I mean, the memes, like it's Morbin time. That was stupid. I blame whatever idiot 15-year-old that said that and then it blew up. I condemn them to shit because it like a lot of memes nowadays. This is part of the reason why I don't like memes. A lot of them is because they're not fucking funny. That shit was just like what? Like it was so random and dumb.
I love It's Morbin Time. I'm not
Of
gonna
course
lie.
you do, because you're a part of the problem, Joey. That is why. That is why. Okay. So either way, Morbius as a whole, again, like I said, it was whatever. And then they try to like insert the idea like, oh, we're also MCU adjacent or whatever because
Mhm.
like Vulture is now in their universe. So now, like the bigger, I guess, rumor or speculation is that the Sinister Six is gonna be a thing again, which is nice. It'll be a different team because Sinister Six, they always got like a different. There's all of these different versions of Sinister Six when you like
Yeah.
look at the history, which is cool. It's whatever. It's just gonna be interesting because like Morbius was presented almost kind of like an anti-hero in that movie, but then when you look at again the history of Morbius, it's like he's not, like he's kind of more on the villainous side. So I don't know what the hell they're going with, and I guess I can understand like why people think it was so bad. I feel like for me, it was definitely down there, but I'm giving Sony more of a chance to just kind of let them cook with it because I think let's say if a Morbius 2 does happen, I'm not
Oh
saying I
God.
want one, but I'm saying like whatever the follow-up to that is, if that's worse, then I will definitely write Morbius 1 as like, okay, this movie's fucking trash, like altogether.
You know what they can call it? You know what they can call it? Too Fast, Too Morbius.
Bro.
And that's how you sell tickets. Easy.
I like that one.
Easy.
You got to hit up Joey for that marketing. So if you need marketing for your movie, just let Joey know. You'll find him on Incredibly.
Sorry to derail you, Uch. I had to interject that in there.
Uchi's gonna go straight
Just
to
shaking
sleep
his
after
head.
this. He's like, I gotta go to bed. I gotta go to bed after this.
We should
Um,
at the end we got to go to like a positivity zone where we all just like hype each other back up after this.
Yo, yeah, let's see what the fuck you guys try to hype me back up with. Let's see. But go ahead. What's your
uh,
number 3?
My number 3 is Eternals.
Yo,
bro,
why am I here?
Uchi,
Bring
Uchi does not
bring
want to be
Crystal in.
involved with this with this podcast today.
Listen. The reason why Eternals is my number 3 is because it tried to do way too much with way too many characters that nobody knew about. It tried to set up things that have yet to pay off at all after however many movies have come out. One being the giant hand in the middle of the ocean that still has not been referenced a single time since it happened, which is huge. That's huge. That could shift the tides of the planet. Okay. 2, they introduced 10 brand new characters in a single movie and expected us to care about all 10 at the same time and tried to flesh out all of their stories at the same time. Just not going to happen. It was all right. The plot was fun, I guess. The way that they showed a Quickster in the MCU kind of for the first time in the MCU is really good. A lot of people point to that as being like the best version of Speed. I don't know what the MCU calls it. It's not Speed Force. It's just Speed, I guess. Was really cool, and the fight scenes were awesome. Don't get me wrong, love the fight scenes. However, it just as a film, it just did not land with me. So that is why it is at number 3.
I can see Uchi looking for a stress ball at this moment. He needs something to kind of to squeeze. So but anyways, my number 3 is also Eternal.
Yo, let's go. Oh,
Dennis,
this is
I
perfect.
knew it.
This
I
is
knew
perfect.
it. This is
A lot of
why.
the same thing you said, Joey. A lot of the same things. Too many stories, there wasn't an individual kind of like, or there wasn't a smooth plot. There were too many
Mm,
individual plots and too many
yes.
stories. And so you can't really connect with a lot of the characters. It was just too many things. And this is the only movie where I walked out of the movie theater and I was like, this is too long and too short.
Mm,
Like this movie was way too long because it was so bad, and it was too short because you couldn't connect with any of the characters because there was just too many of them.
yeah.
The only great part about this movie is the cinematography. Like some of
Oh,
these
it's beautiful.
shots were
Yeah.
gorgeous. But other than that, yeah, maybe the prettiest frame by frame project, but man, just fell short.
And
Kind
like
of disappointed.
all the fights were cool. Like, don't get me wrong, like especially when they were in
Right.
like the wooded area and having all that stuff kind of gave me like Wolverine fighting in the woods vibes. Um, but one of the other things that I didn't mention was the fact that we got Star Fox at the end as Harry Styles, which was like probably the biggest celebrity appearance in
Mhm.
the MCU, which just felt so out of left field. Like it was just so strange to have him coming at the end then. It just you know, I'm not a huge comic book nerd, so I didn't really know who he was. Um, but it still just felt so just weird. Especially because
Yeah.
it was Harry Styles of all people. Like if it was just some other actor, it would have been fine, but it almost felt like Harry Styles was making a cameo appearance rather than Star Fox, the brother of Thanos, showing up, right? That's just
Right.
that's how it felt.
That was tough. All right. Uchi, let's go to number 2.
My number 2 is Werewolf by Night.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
The reason why I said Werewolf by Night was similar to what I was saying about like Ant-Man and Wasp, is that for me very forgettable, and more so more forgettable than Ant-Man and Wasp, because it was like a 45-minute short, um black and white, which I mean that's whatever, to be honest. They have a color version now, so if you haven't seen it, you can watch it in color if you want to go see it back. The whole entire time I was just like, okay. Like I was waiting for something to happen. Nothing was really happening. It was like it was really slow, but I guess that was like intended. And then we get like Man Thing making the debut, which I was like, oh, okay, I recognize this character, but it's Man Thing. I I know of Man Thing. I've known of Man Thing for a long time, I guess, and I never thought that Man Thing was anything worth like freaking out over. So it is what it is, and that's why it is my number 2.
Okay. That's fair enough. Uh I haven't seen the colored version. I'm
Me
interested to see
neither.
it though.
Yeah,
It
same.
it might look it might look different. I don't know. Yeah, will it hit different? I don't know. But I thought it
It
was okay. I didn't mind it. I
it
watched it
like
during like spooky season though.
yeah, it didn't even feel like a Marvel,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
anything. It kinda just felt like a whatever little movie that apparently these characters are, they're obviously Marvel characters, but like, I don't know, based on everything that we're setting up, I almost feel like Werewolf by Night was just like a waste of time. Like
Mm,
truly. And like
Yeah.
that goes a long way because again, like I'm not the kind of person that is so negative when it comes to like all this stuff. But like when you look at the landscape and all the moving parts and what's being built and set up, I do not see Werewolf by Night being involved at all in any capacity. Like, if you ask me, is Werewolf by Night gonna be in Avengers Kang Dynasty? Fuck no. Is Werewolf by Night gonna be in motherfucking Deadpool 3? Hell no. Like, it's not. It's just like they might as well have made MODOK season 2 on Hulu, because that shit again
Oh no.
pointless. Why did they do it? Why did they do this? That's like my thing with. But like you said, I do want to see it again in color, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I'm gonna just feel exactly how I felt just like with what I just said.
there's a way that black and white films now feel to me where it's it doesn't feel true to like the film noir or black and white, like
Yeah.
original film era, right? Because it literally feels like, and obviously it was just a filter, just a black and white filter that they slap on the film. And so you can tell it's just drained of color. There's no like grain, there's no texture or feel to it. So when I first watched it, I kind of felt that way. I was like, this kind of feels hokey in a sense, but I also understand that they were going for more of like a universal monsters,
Yeah,
kind of like
definitely.
Dracula, werewolf,
Frankenstein,
mummy, kind of,
Invincible Man.
yeah, like that kind of feel. And I wonder if it was like them testing if they could do these kind of other projects and still get the same response if it's disconnected. Kind of like the Spotlight. Like they almost felt like they're test piloting the Spotlight, Marvel Spotlight, to see if people would care. Because I think it did well. I mean, it went straight to streaming, so I don't, I can't imagine it did,
Yeah.
crazy. But I agree with you. I low key forgot about it just because it's so removed. But I also, it like it doesn't feel like it's connected. I'm sure
Sure.
it will be, in some capacity. We'll probably see. I would imagine we'll probably see Werewolf by Night maybe in like a Moon Knight, if there's like a Moon Knight 2.
There will
Or
be.
yeah, so I would imagine he'll come into play. Same with Man Thing somehow. I don't know. Maybe in Blade, because it definitely
Yeah,
feels more
well,
like a
I think
Universal monster thing.
yeah, and I think I mean if we get an Elsa Bloodstone story, which I think we
Mm,
are, or they're thinking about it, then we'll definitely see it connected with Werewolf by Night.
yeah,
So that makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, I guess the black and white thing was definitely like an artistic choice,
yeah,
but technically it's not a Universal Monsters because this came out like in the 70s. And so that's
yeah.
like
Werewolf by
way
Night's its own thing,
before. Yeah, that's like a whole different
like
thing.
almost
Like
like
Frankenstein.
Nosferatu, or Dracula kind of vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Frankenstein, all that stuff, Black Cat, like those original like horror
yeah,
movies from like pre-50s, basically before the Cold Wars, what they would say in film school, I guess.
yeah,
Uh, those were all in black and white because there was no color yet. So,
yep,
Hmm.
but this one was more like a a style choice.
yeah.
So
As
maybe the color version will hit differently, but we'll see.
I ho-
But keeping it
I hope
separate from
so.
MCU is definitely the
Yeah,
way, right? Yeah.
Uchi, I absolutely understand why you have it at 2. Like, I
Oh,
definitely, because I will tell you, I absolutely forgot about it when we're making this list,
I
but
remember
I
watching
loved
it
it.
literally right here in this seat when it came out last year because as a fan, I felt obligated. I'm like, okay, I got to see what the hell's going on. And afterwards, I was just like, I hate watching anything and feeling nothing. That's, I feel like, worse sometimes than something that's truly shit.
Yeah,
Because Werewolf by Night, I'm not saying it's shit. I'm just saying, what the hell was the point of this? Like, I don't see the characters or anything that's related to it like anytime soon coming into play. Like you mentioned Moon Knight possibility, Blade possibility because the themes somewhat are directly related, but think about that. This they made a whole ass one shot for like a side character. That's the impression that I got.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It was definitely like just like, "Hey, this is a good Halloween thing for you guys. We have the
Sure, yeah.
budget. We own it. We own the property now, and it's been years. We haven't done anything with it." I'm interested to see what happens with Elsa Bloodstone because she did have like a little like Easter egg in there with her tombstone, I think it was, or whatever it was. Uh yeah. But if you want a good, scary, black and white movie, Doctor X is one of my favorites. I think that's from like
good
the
plug.
40s, 41. But you got to be patient with with those. Don't watch Uchi because if you didn't like this one, you definitely won't like that
I'm
one.
not into horror anyway, so I'm not. I'm
Oh, that's
good.
right.
There you
Yeah,
go.
That's right.
you're good.
Um, cool. All right. So that was number two, Joey. What is yours?
My number 2 is Black Widow.
This mother, yeah, okay.
Yep, Ooch knew. Ooch knew.
Okay.
Black Widow is my least favorite movie,
One
from the
reason only.
MCU. Yeah. So it is my number 2, specifically because of Taskmaster,
Taskmaster.
the
And
I
there it
knew
is.
it. I already knew it, bro.
boy. It
I
is so
knew it. I'm
sad,
a good
so
listener.
sad, so sad what they did to my boy. I will give it praises because it brought us Yelena, who is an absolutely incredible addition to the MCU. Um, However, I felt like I don't know. It felt like getting a movie for Cat this late in the game almost felt wrong. Like, I felt like it should have been a priority sooner. I guess they probably just didn't have time. And so having it be that, I kind of wish it almost would have been a Yelena movie that went into the backstory more of them as a family rather than
Mm.
being a Black Widow movie. But I wish that Black Widow would have got her roses in a different way. Because I believe this movie was almost like straight to streaming. Like, I think it had like a very limited
Mm.
theatrical. I don't remember it being um okay, but I remember it being on Disney Plus at the same time when they were like piloting like the premium stuff. So I think it also deterred people from
Oh,
going out to
that's right.
see it.
Mhm.
So I wish that she would have got her roses in a different way. There's a sorry. There's a few scenes that really stuck out to me. Graphically wise, that really kind of irked me. But really the biggest thing is Taskmaster, unfortunately. It's it's just sad. It's sad. And I really hate, and this is a whole other topic, the MCU always killing off a villain. I don't remember. I think they let Taskmaster go, but
They
in this instance,
did.
I almost wish they would have just pulled the plug. Just been like, let's just redo it because it just felt sad. So that is my number two.
You know what? After watching it, I think I've seen it twice since I originally watched it at the movie theater, and I'm a big Scarlett Johansson fan, so I will
Yeah,
watch
she's great.
anything with her. And it didn't suck as bad for me the second or third time. I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I wasn't watching something before it and something after it, like
Mm,
usually like in order or waiting for something. And just as like a standalone movie and a sister story,
yeah.
it just kind of it hit differently. So it definitely got out of the bottom section of the list for me. It's still down there, but I'm not gonna bring it up in this top five this time.
Fair
But
enough.
it definitely got better, after the second or third time, but yeah, not a lot of people don't like it. It's almost like, it was just like the timing was off. It just
Yeah,
didn't make
I
sense.
agree.
Yeah.
But shout outs to
Alright,
Yelena.
my number 2. My number 2 is Thor: Love and Thunder. Uh, I think I told you guys, I just hated those damn goats. I think
Yeah. These are-
I don't know what happened with Taika on this one. I think it was just too many jokes. It didn't feel serious enough. I understand the humor and the comedy and everything. You need that. Um, I just couldn't take it seriously, and there wasn't just anything that was exciting about it to me. And then coming like after Ragnarok, that movie was just so amazing, and then just to get this one, just I don't know, man. I was just disappointed, almost like the Iron Man 2 kind of situation where like Iron Man
Mhm.
1 was awesome. Was looking really forward to Iron Man 2, and then it just didn't deliver for me. So this one too, I don't know, man. But now after you mentioned that Taika quote, it makes sense now.
I think that for it being the 4th outside of the Avengers, it being the 4th of any of the franchises, for it to deliver what it did was just kinda disappointing, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I think that may have been why they strayed away from an Iron Man 4, that may have been why they strayed away from a Cap 4, because it's like, how do you follow up something like, you know, Winter Soldier or Civil War? You know, how do you follow
Mm.
up Ragnarok? Because it felt like a capstone, like it felt like the finale. Like it does not Thor does not get better than this. And it certainly didn't. So that's but so we I agree with you, I will say.
Yeah. All right, Uchi. This is it.
Wait,
The one we've been waiting for.
I have a proposition.
Oh yeah.
What if we all say our number one at the same time?
Thought about that.
I
So
like that.
count us off, Joey, and
All
I'll
right.
start with my
Yeah.
reasons after we say it.
Ready? Our bottom number one MCU project of all time is 3, 2, 1.
Secret
Captain
Invasion.
Marvel.
Oh no! How could you forget Secret Invasion?
Nah, he trolling. I'm not
No,
buying it.
it's Captain Marvel.
No way.
Or yeah, I'll let Uchi go first.
I
But
I
then
I I have zero credibility for fucking Dennis now. Zero, son. Zero. That makes zero sense. But okay, my reasons.
Yeah.
This show was super upsetting. It almost led us all on as fans to be like something that was gonna be like amazing, super hype. Of course, if you're comic book oriented, you'll know that comic book version's better. I mean, no shit. A lot of the
Yeah.
stories are I mean, most of the time or whatever, but in this situation, they gave us 6 episodes of build up towards something that really wasn't all that great. It could have been a lot better given how they were doing it. Unfortunately, it just did not live up to par at all. And like for it to, I guess, essentially be like a Nick Fury highlight series, it like during the most like most of the episodes, it kind of like made you second guess and like, damn, like this Nick Fury's like on some other shit and not in a good way. And that of course was very upsetting and it added to like everything that I just said. So I I also think that because of what we know how it could have went, and for us to see what actually happened, like Harvest conceptually is dope, but the fact that the Super Scrolls basically just kept recycling Hulk and Abomination arms the entire time. And like apparently they had DNA of all these different Avengers. What they really should have said was they had DNA
mhm.
of anybody that has some sort of a superpower ability or something like that. Then it would have been like, okay. But then again, it's just like, well, again, you're using they cycled like a Thrax arm, a Hulk arm, and an Abomination arm. And then of course, like Captain Marvel got some glowy eyes, and then it was like a little bit of Scarlet Witch in there. But
Yeah.
still, out of
There's an orb
everybody
too.
that we've been introduced to, granted, not everyone's like a superpowered being. They're not mutants. We didn't get that, none of that shit. It just again, it was like failed hype,
Yeah.
and it was essentially a failed show because even for someone like me, I was just like, and I saw it twice through. Once with you guys, basically for when it was coming out, and then once with Crystal. And even she agreed. She was just like, "Yeah, this is the worst of all of them." I was like, "Mm-hmm." And now you know. So
Yeah. I feel like it should have been a multi-movie saga. Like
Mhm.
what Secret Invasion really is a Skrulls infiltrating the Avengers or basically Earth's mightiest heroes, Avengers. And that's not what we got at all. We got a very grounded um are these aliens infiltrating the planet to make their lives better? Like what is happening? It tore down Nick Fury, it tore down Captain Marvel, it tore down all this stuff that we've been building over these years. Didn't really get to see the best side of Nick Fury after getting a what I will call a delightful representation of him in the Marvels to look back on what we got in Secret Invasion for that to only happen months after it just doesn't something doesn't click. To ice Maria Hill episode 1
yeah,
to
that's just
lose
crazy.
to lose Talos Ben Mendelsohn from the MCU. It just felt like it just didn't work. Like it didn't work at all for me. Um, I wish we could have got maybe a Nick Fury solo movie about him doing like spy shit like back in the day. Like that would have been cool. I don't think we needed
Mhm.
to see Nick in this light. And then for it to pull Rhodey and say, yeah, he's been on ice since g- Civil War, apparently, or whenever, for him to have missed everything
Oh,
with
yeah.
supposedly have missed everything with Tony, basically all of Earth, the universe about to die.
That is
It's
pretty crazy.
yeah, it's pretty disappointing. Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson deserves better.
True.
Yeah. A lot of them do.
Yeah,
Olivia Colman, of course, was my favorite one in that show.
she better
Every
come
time she
back.
was on Yeah, every time she was on, she was great. I can see her coming back. Maybe a little dialogue with Harrison Ford as the president.
Yeah.
When he becomes president, that'd be interesting. Um, yeah, that show sucks.
Yeah.
It was just so bad. I said it before, right? It should have been a movie, just
Yeah.
one movie. You could have cut different scenes and made it one movie and put it straight to streaming and call it a day. But it caused more questions than anything for me, which was just too bad.
Yeah.
But it's not even in your bottom 5.
Not bottom 5. No, so for my bottom 5, I try to keep it just movies. I wanted to challenge myself because I knew Secret Invasion was gonna be there. I knew She-Hulk was gonna be there, so I wanted to keep it just movies. For me, Captain Marvel is the worst movie for me personally because it was the first time going to an MCU project where I was just bored. I wasn't into the story. It didn't connect with me, and maybe I wasn't the right audience for it as well. And I don't know, there was like a misconnection between her and Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. I don't know what it was. So there was a little bit of that, but and it's funny because I ranked the Marvels a little bit better than Captain Marvel. And I really do think that Captain Marvel, at least the one that we were presented with, just works better with other people around her.
Mm.
So whether that's Miss Marvel or other people in the Avengers, I think that's really where she shines. I would have loved if we would have got Captain Marvel maybe a little bit earlier and see how things would have been maybe different. But from a I was just so bored in this movie. It just did nothing for me. And but here's another thing I was thinking about cuz um Ant-Man was whose was it? Ant-Man and the Wasp. Whose
That
was
was my
that?
that was my 5.
So that was your number 5. I'm looking at the MCU order. Check this out. Infinity War and Endgame sandwich Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
it was Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Captain Marvel, then Endgame.
Yeah.
So maybe what could have happened, bro, and maybe this is why like I remember this is the first time coming to an MCU movie where I was just bored and it didn't hit with me, is because I just finished watching like Infinity War and that was an amazing movie. And Ant-Man and the Wasp was like, oh, that wasn't that good as well. And then boom, I got another bad one that I didn't connect with. Maybe that's like that sandwich of unfortunate release dates that maybe connected with me a little bit different. And I wrote down this note, which is super interesting. I wrote this down and I said, growing up as a kid, I wasn't a Superman fan because I was a Batman fan. Superman was way too powerful, in my opinion. And I think I might be having PTSD little Dennis syndrome when it comes to Captain Marvel, where she might be a little too powerful for me in order to connect with. So, yeah, Captain Marvel to me was the first movie where I was just like, this, I don't know, I don't vibe with it. And I was just bored. So, but then we got Endgame. So it
Yeah.
fixed everything. And I forgot about Captain Marvel. Yeah. That's a tough one. People are always like, "Bro, are you kidding me?" I was like, "That's my bottom so far."
I think it's like number 8 highest grossing MCU film.
I know, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not that that is
Um,
indicative of quality, but
what was the what is the Rotten Tomato score there?
Who cares? Rotten Tomatoes sucks.
I can tell you Eternals because I had it pulled up.
um, no, it's great. I mean, 79%. That's not bad. For Captain Marvel.
You want to
Oh,
know
oh,
what
oh,
Eternals
oh,
is?
oh, bro, the audience score is 45. Okay, so the audience score is probably where I am. But yeah, I'll look a little bit into this later. But yeah, that's it. I just didn't connect. What's Eternals?
Eternals is a goddamn 47.
That's my number.
47. All right.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then it was like a 77 audience. So
I
could be
just
worse.
Okay.
I just want to put it out there, guys. Everyone that's listening, watching, the only reason why Dennis thinks Captain Marvel is the fucking worst MCU movie of all time is because he does not like Brie Larson. I will say that again. It's no secret. He said it on here plenty of times. That is the reason.
Yeah, I like her as an actress and an actor, but I don't like her as Captain Marvel. I don't know if it's her. You know what though? If you think about movies and film, most of the time it's the director. There was a
Mm.
direction that was not given to this type of actor and guidance and stuff like that. So I think that's my misconnection because there's an Apple TV show with Brie Larson right now. What's it called? We started watching it. Lessons in Chemistry. And so far, like she's slapping in that series. It's so good. So I don't know if it's so much Brie Larson, it's more Captain Marvel, maybe the directors that were behind it, and just like the direction that she was given as an actress. But yeah, it's just that's definitely the common factor in my top five. I think for me, looking at my list, the thing for me is just like connecting. Did I connect with the movie? If I look at Iron Man 2, there was a lot going on. Didn't have time to connect with any of them. Same thing with the Marvels, same thing with Eternals, just too many people there. Thor and Love and Thunder was a little bit more of a joke for me, and then this one just didn't connect with this one either. But yeah. Sorry, Captain Marvel fans.
I'll tell you, Brie Larson is a very good actor. She's
Yeah.
great in almost everything but Captain Marvel. For whatever reason, it's just her. I agree with you. Her characteristics, something about how she is
Mhm.
portraying Captain Marvel, just doesn't cut it for me. Because especially acting up against somebody like um, Imani as Miss Marvel, it just felt
Yeah.
like as for her debut film ever. It was like, holy shit, this girl has got it, whatever it is. And it just felt so completely like stark in contrast to Brie, which is unfortunate.
I know how to add to that because I think I see where you guys are going with this because like I have seen and felt that about Brie Larson with Captain Marvel where she has this vibe to her that when she's performing, right, for us as Captain Marvel, right, as Carol Danvers, there's like a missing piece of it. And I think
Yeah.
when you mention Imani uh with Miss Marvel, she's a fan and that comes out with her performance, right? So obviously, what is the takeaway? Obviously, passion will always persevere, right? It will always like push
Mhm.
through. It will always like you could tell when someone really loves something and when they really, breathe like some really nice, tender loving care into whatever it is. To know that she has written for her own character in the
Yeah.
comic books,
So crazy.
it says a lot. And that's why I'm almost like this brings me back to when you said that the Marvels was in your bottom 5 because it was forgettable. How do you forget Imani? That makes no
Yeah.
sense. She was
Yeah.
crazy, like amazing good. Like she
Yeah.
was the star. Like even though like on the marquee, it's all like Captain Marvel's in the centerpiece, because she's the Superman. But it's just like everybody after that movie, no matter if they was talking shit on it, if they were talking positive, everybody unanimously loved Miss Marvel to the point
Yeah.
where it's like everyone was just talking about her. Video clips was getting shared around about her. I learned so much about her just off of the post reactions of this.
Yeah. Almost exclusively.
Yo, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Yo, we have to protect her
Yeah.
because she is like a gem." She's like one of those human beings where she's such a sweetheart that it's like, "Holy shit, she's a great actress, she's a great person, and she actually fucks with comics." Bro, that's
Yeah.
OD. Like that's a
It's crazy.
recipe for some, super, love and with that. And I guess with Brie Larson, it's like she's there. She's just there doing the job. But that for me doesn't even like take away from the whole story that Captain Marvel gave us because it was like the backstory on how she got her powers, her connection with the
Monica.
Rambos, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And then eventually with with like
Nick?
Avengers and Shield and all that kind of stuff. So
We got a little backstory on the scrolls as well.
that
Yeah.
too.
And yeah. For me, like I said in the Marvels review, go check it out. Hear it incredibly. The best part of that movie was Iman, and I think I also said like when I was watching the movie, I wanted to be her big brother. I wanted to protect her and like get her out of this movie immediately. Like I just wanted to I was hoping that she would have her own kind of movie, but her series, you guys know I'm a big fan of. I love her show
It's
so
great.
much. The family dynamics was like incredible. Yeah, by far. And I think that's why like I like Captain Marvel more with Monica and her together. I think she shined a little bit better because how could you not bring a different kind of energy when you're around Iman, right?
Right.
I bet naturally like her aura and her energy like brought out the best for Brie and Captain Marvel. But yeah, there's always been something like disconnected with her in that character. But I don't know. I can't blame her because she's incredible. She's a great actor. It has to be like the direction that she's given,
Mm.
or something along those lines. I don't know. Maybe she didn't mean to sign the contract, but she did. Or maybe because she was such a powerful character, maybe she expected more and a little bit earlier as well. So I don't know. It's an interesting. I wonder what other people like kind of break down or digest when it comes to her
Yeah.
as Captain Marvel.
I will say this: there's one through line between all of our number ones, and it is scrolls. I think scrolls are the fucking problem.
Scrolls are the
and
problem.
and any project that has scrolls is going to be ass. I think that's probably what it's going to be. We will see if they're even in any future MCU projects at this point, but I think
Mm,
that's what it is.
I mean, they kind of have to be at since
yeah.
Yeah,
since how they left us with Secret Invasion and
there'll be a
they
new
were in the
Asgard.
Marvels and yeah, so like they're gonna be around. Maybe not as prominent, but I guess we'll. I don't think they're really gonna be like an issue or something. Like I feel like we don't have to worry about the
Yeah,
scrolls. They got all that the scrolls stuff out of the way. I feel like the only time we'll ever see them become like a threat again is if after the big incursion takes place and like the worlds collide, the universes collide, and then like this ultimate
Mm,
universe is created where everything is existing in unison, and then they can like really adapt and expand upon any of the known stories from the comics where the scrolls do shine brighter and we do get a
mm,
proper super scroll, but that's not I don't foresee that happening for years and years
yeah,
and years. It's going to take a
yeah.
long time before we even get to that point, so I wouldn't put too much stock on the scrolls for the foreseeable future.
I agree.
Yeah, it's too bad because they represent what I think I loved about Godzilla, or potentially what they could have represented, which was community. Because if you think about MCU and all the movies and everything we've been given, they care about one another the most. And it's too bad that we don't get like more of that story. Secret Invasion was getting close to that, right? We would see the kids playing in their, I guess, in their community, in their zone where they were safe from other people and stuff like that. And I would have loved to see more of that because that was like the part that I love about Godzilla is just like everyone's there for one another. And so it's too bad because I think they could have had some impactful story from like a human perspective, like human to human relationship that we might be missing out on. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Things need to be a little bit more clear when it comes to MCU. I think that's why Deadpool will be a big one for us.
Oh yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts, Joey?
Um, I'm ashamed for Dennis that he didn't rank Secret Invasion number one.
At all. And
That is, but
that's crazy.
I understand, putting those restrictions on yourself. I get it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No, okay.
It's just
Sure.
unforgivable. So
Yeah.
just
I
know
felt like
that
I bashed on it too much. So I was like, I won't talk about it.
no,
But
this
yeah.
is us burying it. From here on out, we're done. We can't anymore. Yeah.
And we're throwing Flash in there too.
Grab your shovels to plant these holes but not for the trees yet. Maybe a nice tree will grow out of it. Who knows? We'll see. But we can go back and watch Loki again and see that nice tree that came out of
Yeah.
that and be happy with
Ah,
it.
nice little
Yo.
save there.
Thank you. Yeah.
For sure.
Ooch.
Uchi, this has been a tough one. This has been a tough podcast. How are you feeling?
Y'all are both whack, and I stand by that.
You called it. You sent us something, and you're like, "This is for you clowns," and I was like, "Oh, he doesn't even
Oh, yeah.
know the half of it yet."
What I sent them for a reference is a story. It was like an Instagram story that actually Crystal sent it to me, right? And it was a reminder as to why No Way Home is the greatest fucking movie in superheroes today. And it was the clip of when Andrew finally comes on the screen, when Toby comes on the screen, and they had the side by side live reaction of a theater that must have been watching it for like the first time on the first night that it was publicly available, and everyone jumping out of their seats, screaming pure joy. You're not gonna get that in any other movie. Not for a while, I don't think, at least. That was
Yeah.
something that to this day, Endgame could not do, did not do, but Spider-Man did. It was a long time coming, dream come true moment that a lot of people all wanted to see happen, and it fucking happened. And it was beautiful. Literally something that cannot be recreated until we see Hugh Jackman, we see Robert Downey Jr. and maybe Toby all standing as like a representation of here is the Marvel legacy before your very eyes. And at that moment, then it's like, okay, the Spider-Man one will always be goated in my head, but that one will come like at a very close tie for everything that it represents. And I can't wait for that day to come. So I sent them to those two clowns so they can be reminded why No Way Home is the greatest.
My movie theater had the same reaction. Everyone went nuts. They were cheering. They were going crazy. It was one of the most memorable. That's why I always call it like that was for us. That was for the fans. Put all the movie stuff aside. Whatever else problem it had, that was just for the fans. Like this was for you guys. Thank you for being with us. You want to see this? Like that was for us. So I got the same reaction the night that we saw it. The only thing that I also got was at the Dark Knight. I was there for like the midnight release, and people were just cheering maybe the last 10 minutes, like that whole scene when the Two-Face scene happens up until like Batman runs away and then and hits you with the, he's not the hero that we needed, but the one that we deserve, and like all that other stuff. He is the Dark Knight. Like everyone's like, "Ah," like cheering. It was just as crazy as when Toby came out. And yo, Godzilla in my movie theater also got a big roar at the end, which is
Really?
crazy. Yeah, so I must have been. I was probably one of the first people to see it here in Denver, and so because I went to a super early. Well, it was like
Oh, you was
Thursday,
in there on like
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yeah. I
Wednesday, yeah,
remember
I
you
went to a
texted
Oh,
us.
Wednesday
you
night.
went to the fan showing.
I went to the fan showing. So like there were a bunch of like dedicated Godzilla people. Yo, they were cheering, bro. Stand in a USA crowd standing up and cheering for a all Japanese movie,
That's
bro.
fucking
Like
awesome.
that hit differently. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is crazy. So yeah, it was good to see that. I love when that stuff happens because I'm the only bro. When the Dark Knight trailer came out, I don't remember what movie I was watching. I don't think it had anything to do with superheroes. The first time I saw that trailer in the movie theater, I was the only one. I was like, let's go, like yelling, like people are like, little boy, sit down. Like, what is wrong with you? So I love when people go through that. Like, that is the best, bro. That's the reason why I go to movie theaters. It just hits differently, because I do that at home. Well, I don't get to
Yeah.
enjoy it with.
Me too. I made a YouTube career out of it, low key.
Oh man. But yeah, thanks for saying that. That was a good reminder. I was like, man, it just hit differently when it was like that midnight release and you had to get your tickets the week before. What a time. What a time. I don't know if that happens anymore. It doesn't.
It will. Deadpool 3.
People
Uchi
have
in the
faith.
last episode said they're gonna need to get new box office.
They're gonna
You
burn the
like
box
that?
office down, rebuild box
Yeah.
office.
They're gonna have to rebuild it. That was so good.
It's gonna happen.
All right. Well, that's our top 5 least favorite MCU projects. It was a tough one. It was a tough one. Joey,
pretty easy.
you and I have a lot of making up to Uchi for the rest of the year. So we'll
Yeah.
figure something out.
We got
That's all
3
the time.
weeks.
3 weeks. No, 3 weeks to make it up. So that's all the time that we have for you today. Do not forget to drop us a like and make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Drop us a comment, subscribe and like it. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone. Tell the gardener, the pool boy, everybody. If you're listening to this episode on the podcast, please pull over and hit us with a like, some ratings. Tell us how awesome we are. Tell us how wrong we are as well. That's fine. If you want to connect with us, you can find us and all the information you need in the description of this video or podcast episode. Joey, where can people find you?
You can find me on twitter.com/life my pace or on twitch.tv/house_top. That's it. That's all I got.
The peace. And you know we got to plant them. Uchi, where can people
Plant
find
the
you?
seeds so you can get the trees, man, on the freaking link tree. All of my links will be there for Twitter, Instagram. What the hell? This button won't shut up. Thank you. Sorry. YouTube channels, Twitch streams, and all that. And of course, right here on Incredibly.
On Wednesday evenings, specifically, you'll find us on youtube.com at Incredibly Show, where we'll be finishing up our MCU tier list. So come see what Uchi and I think about the greater MCU as a whole, not just our top 5s, bottom 5s. So
It's the S
been
tiers
fun.
that we're going to be
Yeah.
organizing. So it'll be interesting.
we'll be wrapping up
Uh-oh.
like a present.
And then are we going to share that like final image somewhere? Maybe on Twitter?
Yeah.
Probably on Twitter,
Instagram?
probably on all socials, so we can
All
get
the
get our shit rocked by the comments everywhere we post it.
I'll be
You gotta
ready.
be careful with these
Engagement.
superhero.
Give me the
engagement
hate comments. I feed on it.
Yeah, he looks for it. He really
Yeah,
does.
Joey's looking for it. Joey's looking. I'm hiding. I don't want to deal with any of that stuff, bro.
Right.
It's
man.
engagement. That's what matters. Gets the clicks.
Gets the people
clip.
going. I thought what you were going to say.
Oh, that's from Blades of Glory. I like that. Good movie. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.